해보자. 어떤 게임인지 모르겠지만 뭔가 평이 좋다는 게임이었어요.
This is the story
안녕하세요.
of a man named Stanley.
오,
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push,
이게 시기가
how long to push
언제일까?
them, and
왜 독수리 타법이야?
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
행복했대요. 소리
And then one
괜찮아요?
day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation.
이거 그거네.
Something was very
암묵적인
clearly wrong.
퇴사 요청.
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
이거를 버티면서 월급을 받을 수는 있지만 버티지 못하고 나가면은 나가게 되는 그런 것. 자, 이제 내가 되어서 어딘가로 움직이는 거다.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
회의실로? 회의실은 어디일까? 다 어디 갔어? 이게 이래서 3D 모임이 있을 수 있다는 거구나. 방금 지나왔어요, 회의실?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
오케이, 왼쪽 문으로 들어갔습니다.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
위층으로?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
화장실로 가보자. 오, 가구부터 다른 거 봐. 비서가 없다, 자리에. 똑똑똑. 여긴가?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the
화장실
boss had
책상
assigned it an
뒤편에
extra secret pin number.
비밀
2845.
숫자
But of course,
2845.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
자, 눌러보자. 스탠리는 알 일이 없었다는데 그래도 내가 눌러봐도 되나? 2, 8, 4, 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
너가
by sheer
알려줬잖아.
luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
여기에서 저기가 열린 거 같죠? 여기 없던 데인데. 오케이. 뭐야, 무섭다. 왜? 무서운데? 로딩. 무서운데? 근데 이거 무서운 거는
Descending
없다
deeper into
그랬어요.
the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
이끼.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
마인드 컨트롤. 정신 지배.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
이거 거기 같은데 비디오 아트 하는 곳? 그 백남준 비디오 아트 막 이런 거 옆에서 막 반짝반짝하면서 상영될 것 같은 그런 느낌의 장소인데. 이거 눌러보자.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's
여기서 전부
coworkers.
감시했구나.
The lives of so many
CCTV로.
individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
저기는 뭐야? 저기 빨간 글씨 있는 곳. 저희 104번은 해고됐대요. 그 다음에 이제 뭐 해야 되지? 이리로 다시 가볼까? 427번이었어요, 스탠리.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
427 저기다. 저인가? 스탠리 자리. 이제는 아무도 없죠. 여기서
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls
다
once and
오프라인이라고
for
나오는데?
all.
이거? 뭔가 폭파 스위치 같은 거 있다, 이거. 어디서 뭘 하는 걸까요? 오락기야! 저희 내려가 보자. 아무것도 아니네. 눌러지는 게 없어. 콘솔 디세이블드. 어떻게 하는 거지? 이거를 부수라는 거잖아요, 그쵸? 뭔가 눌리는데 전원 버튼은 안 눌려요. 점프는 못하나? 아, 이 그거 아니에요?
And when at last he found the source of the
전력
room's power,
장치?
he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh,
인력을
Stanley,
기다리고
you didn't
있습니다.
just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and
아니야!
you try to take control of the machine for yourself.
끄자!
Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do, for example,
왜
and I
끄는 거 안
believe you'll find
들려?
this pertinent. Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say,
그러니까 2분 동안 여기에
now
탈출하라는
this
거죠.
is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
어디로
What's that?
가야 돼?
You'd like to know where your co-workers are. A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to you. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
아저씨 말만 하지
Other
말고
times,
빨리
I let the
나가는 거
office sink into the
알려주세요.
ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing.
저 위로
Watching you
올라갈까?
try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better.
이거
My
아까는
goodness, only
오였지
34
않아요?
seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so
아,
much.
난
You know what? To
재미없어.
hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
엑스트라 타임을
These are
줄 거면
precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
나갈 방법도
Oh dear me,
알려줘.
what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean,
아무 키나
running from
누르면서
button
이씨.
to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved?
차지.
Do you have any idea
다시
what your
가볼까?
purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a
여기에
tragedy.
5번
You
버튼
wanted to
있고
control
저
this
위에
world,
4번
that's
버튼
fine.
있어요.
But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
안녕,
Take a look at the clock,
인플로이
That's 30
427번.
seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice.
가만히 있어보자.
Make it
어떻게 되나 그러면.
Or don't. It's all the same to me.
19,
All a part of the joke.
8,
And believe me,
7,
I will
6,
be laughing at every second of your
5,
inevitable life from the moment we fade
4,
in
3,
until the
2,
moment
1,
I say
0.
happily ever
아무
after.
일도 없었죠? 는 아닌가? 봐봐, 아무 일도 없잖아요. 아무 일도 없었죠? 꿈이었죠? 뭔가 뭐지? 다시 가야 돼? 다시? 거기?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
오잉?
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
메모를 보지 못했을 수도 있대요. 저 말은 뭘까요?
When Stanley came to a set of two open
오른쪽으로
doors, he
가겠어,
entered. This
나는.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
안 열리나? 여기나?
Yes, truly
여기가
a
사원
room worth
휴게실인가
admiring.
봐요.
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
여기서 나가보자.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
여기로 들어가라는 것 같은데 일단 일로 가보자.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
내려갈래. 탈출하는 게 이 게임의 목표인가? 그러면 여기서
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
내 문을 왼쪽만
Oh, no.
열어줬다.
No, it's to the right. My
아니!
mistake.
장난.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
아저씨가 날 갖고 논다.
We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
슉. 좋아. 차가 있네. 다음은 오른쪽으로 해서 내려가자.
No,
또 일로 왔어요.
no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
또다시 처음부터. 다시 가자.
All of his
아저씨의 말을
co-workers were gone.
들어야
What did it
되나
mean?
봐요.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
모니터? 그래, 뭐 자리를 비울 거면 모니터를 끄고 와야지. 회사의 전력을 쓸데없이 낭비시키는 놈들.
When Stanley...
가자.
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere?
아니요,
or...
아무것도 안
Hold on.
했는데요.
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago.
아무것도 안
I know
했는데.
for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
가보자. 그림이 있어요. 누가 이렇게 서랍도 다 열어놓고. 다 눌러볼까봐요. 뭐 이거저거.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can
왜요?
promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that
아니,
we'll ever
그만 다시
progress by
시작해.
starting
구경
over
좀
and over
하자.
again.
사무실
But it's got to be
구경.
better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
지도를 그려볼까? 지도? 네, 제가 길 잃은 게 아니라 이 아저씨가 길 잃은 것 같아요.
All of his co-workers were gone. What
그만
could it
얘기해.
mean?
나도 알아.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
요 옆에 가면은 또 문이 열려 있어요. 456, 457. 아, 지도 그리고 싶다. 나는 약간 좀 기치라서 이런 거 지도 있어야 되는데. 저기 가보고 싶은데 어떻게 가면 되는지 모르겠어요.
I might be remembering this wrong.
점점 집
It's
방이
possible the story is
좁아지네. 나
back
아까
where we
왔던
just
데로
came
왔는데.
from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
뭐지? 아까랑 똑같이 왔는데? 뭐지? 시공간이 일그러지나? 잉?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
우리의 발자취를 더듬자고? 여기 우리 왔던 데 아닌데? 점점 잠깐 이게 뭐 바뀌어요. 내가 왔던 길인데. 여긴 어디야?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
이거 그
Do you remember,
사무실
Stanley?
차리기 전에 막
Do you know what?
준비하는 거
Since
아니야?
I've
건물
completely
짓는?
forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
뭐야?
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay?
이겼다는
I'm
거
getting
조금
weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this
그냥
time.
한 말
I
같아요.
have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
알았어요. 가자. 자. 이렇게 가라고?
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought.
딴 데
Wouldn't
가보자.
wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a
이상하다.
byproduct
아까
of
이렇게
one's subjective
갔는데.
experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my
어떻게 된
experience of your
거지?
existence rests inside of your
그쵸?
subjective
방향
experience of
이상한데?
this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential
여기서
mental
이렇게
subjective
갔잖아요.
construct?
근데 어떻게 다시 절로 나올 수가
That got
있지?
a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
아, 노래 들려준다. 아, 닫혀있던 문이 거꾸로 왔다. 거꾸로 왔다. 노래 시끄러워. 그래서 이번에는 얌전히 따라갈게요, 아저씨. 이렇게 올라가서 화장실로 가는 길이잖아요, 그쵸? 길이 왜 절로 돼 있어? 길이 이상하게 그려져 있다. 문 닫혀버렸어요?
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
이거를 관찰하라고? 잎사귀가 있는 양치식물? 이 비슷한 거 마인크래프트에서 봤어. 저거.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
그러게 진짜 다시 돌아왔네. 이 아저씨 내가 길을 잃어버리길 바라는 건가? 이렇게 해서 돌아서 계단에 그거 올라갔는데 어떻게 다시 이렇게 오게 되지?
No, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us?
왜
And
또
after we
재시작이야?
trusted you, after everything we've been through, you.
이상해. 앞만 봐도
anymore.
뺑뺑이 돌리는 것
Restart.
같다. 아저씨가 내 감정 지배하려고서는 뺑뺑이 돌리는 것 같아.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure
그래,
line. What's
이
it
길
ever done for
이상해.
us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
오케이.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
뱅글뱅글 도는
Whatever it
것
might
같다
be,
이거.
Stanley, I'm ready for it.
뱅글뱅글
Oh,
도는 것
no,
같아.
not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
내 가는 곳마다 라인이 있어요, 아저씨. 노란 라인. 또 위로 올라갔다 이게?
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with that
무슨 소리야?
counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the
정신이
answer is clearly yes, then
혼란해진다.
by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
여기 요 문이 제가 지금 들어온 문이에요. 근데 들어가 보자. 일단 열어준 데는 얘밖에 없으니까.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again.
여기 써있네.
Am I just
내가
supposed to
한 거.
forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I
그래,
won't
그만
restart the game. I
시작하자.
won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
깜짝이야. 다시 처음부터 시작이야? 오케이. 전화 걸어보자. 연필 꺾기. 서류 상자. 안녕하세요.
All of his co-workers were gone.
그만
What
얘기해.
did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
저 회의실로 가자.
When Stanley came to a set of two
알아.
open doors, he
나도
entered the
알아.
door on his left.
얌전히 가보자. 이번에는
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
보자. 메모. 차 닫혀버렸어요? 사장실은
Coming to
위층이지만
a
아래로
staircase,
한번 가보자.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
내려가 보자. 아까 올라갔을 때 아무것도
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
탈출로?
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
그렇네?
Why did doors close automatically
내 발이 안
behind him
보이네.
wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream.
여기 지금 계속 같은 방
What a
도는 것
relief
같다.
Stanley felt to have finally found
여기
an
계속
answer,
같은
an
방이에요.
explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
꿈이었나?
He imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the
그래,
voice was
맞아.
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice
난 지금 이
describing me,
목소리가 내 생각을
thinking about how
묘사하고
it's
있는 것에 대해
describing my
생각하고 있는
thoughts.
나에 대해 묘사를 하고 있는
And when he
목소리에
thought it
대한
all
꿈을
very
꾸고 있어.
odd and wondered if this
이게
voice
뭐야?
spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back
다시
to my
눈을
job.
뜨면은 그대로
Let me
있겠지?
continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am
눈
okay.
뜨면 그대로일 것 같은데? 안녕하세요. 오, 봐봐. 그 눈 뜨면 그대로예요.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
응?
This is the
제시작인가?
story of a woman named Mariella.
마리엘라라는 여성 스탠리의
Mariella woke up on a day
짝사랑녀니까?
like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
지금 이게 매번 다 엔딩인 거예요? 안녕하세요. 스탠리 사망 엔딩인가? 미쳐갖고? 맞아.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
그러면 끝이 없는 건가? 안전한 곳에 가면은 절대 나오지 않는데요. 안녕하세요.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on
이번에
his
또
left.
얌전히 들어갈게. 얌전히 사장실로도 가볼게.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
사장실 엄청 좋아요. 오! 거울엔 나 안 비치나? 우와. 화장실 좋네. 화장실은 들어갈 수 있게 해주면서 딴 데는 팬더한테 총을 겨누고 있다. 뭐야? 풀. 엘리베이터 올라갈 수도 있나봐요. 올라갈까 내려갈까? 올라가보자. 화장실보다 더 높은 곳에는 뭐가 있는지. 노래도 나오는 엘리베이터예요. 그러니까 밝은 느낌의 노래다. 엄청 고층 건물인가 보다. 그쵸? 높이 올라가. 안녕하세요. 네, 여기서 계속 안 꺼내주는 건 아니겠지, 근데? 뭔가 사람 소리 났어. 두드리니까 안 움직였던 건가? 그럼 다시 타고 내려가 보자. 똑같은 건가 계속? 그러니까 폰헬벤가? 덜덜덜덜덜 떨리기만 하고 움직이는 척? 열어줘. 왜 안 타? 이상한 엘리베이터다. 노래만 좋았어요. 비서 책상은 못 들어간다. 여기. 에이. 비밀 책장.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it, and Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator
그래,
talk.
조용히 해.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
아까 들었단 말이야, 아저씨 얘기하는 거.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley
여기.
calmly walked forward into the
여기가
opened
열리면서
passageway.
문이 생긴 거구나. 밑에 나가자. 이건 뭐지? 발전기 같은 건가? 그리고 이 약간 뭔가 어두운 뒷공간이 있는데? 그쵸? 이거 스탠리패러블이야. 너 스탠리패러블. 이번에는 오프 눌러보자. 여기 오면은
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
이스케이프 탈출구.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it,
아니야,
that at the end of this
거짓말이야.
hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
거짓말이야.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every
아니야,
opportunity
이거
to
못
turn around
도망가게
and get
하려고
back on
거짓말하는
track.
거야.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
이 끝에 간다고 왜 죽어요? 응? 내려가 볼까? 으악! 어!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no
무슨 기계야,
consequence
이거?
whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plugging the eyeballs.
찌푸대서 죽는 건가?
So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal
뭐야?
jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
그래, 고통 없이 갔으면 됐어. 다시 살아났는데? 뭐지?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making
그러게
life the
여자가
same.
됐다,
Do you see
나레이션이.
now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
스탠리의 컴퓨터 박물관에 전시된 거야? 오피스 레이아웃, 사무실 구조. 여기가 스탠리 그 시작하는 방이고, 여기가 거기네. 친구들. 그 다음에 건너편에 여기 뭐 보였고, 그 다음에 이렇게 가서 여기가 회의실 있는 데인가? 모르겠다. 파일 캐비닛. 여기가 거기잖아요. 문 2개 있어서 왼쪽으로 가세요 하는 거. 그 회의실 가기 전이네. 이렇게 해서 여기서 왼쪽으로 해서 쭉 가면 회의실이고, 오른쪽 문으로 해서 쭉 가면은 그 뭐지? 직원 휴게실에 그 자판기 있는 데고, 오피스 컴퓨터. 크레딧 있는 거 보면은 끝 아닌가? 버튼 4번이랑 5번 버튼밖에 못 봤는데 나. 크레딧 있는 거 보면 엔딩 아니야? 엔딩? 이거? 나 탈출에 성공한 거 아닐까 사실은? 오른쪽 사장실 시계. 아, 자유로 찾으면은 이게 나오나봐요. 프리덤 엔딩이라는 거 보니까. 오, 카운트다운 데스크? 이것도 자유 엔딩? 모니터 룸 엘리베이터. 그다음에 길이 너무 복잡해. 다 구경하고 가고 싶은데 다 구경을 못할 것 같다. 이거는 게임 디자인 목업. 신기하네. 어이 복잡해. 라운지. 아, 타이머 소리구나. 무슨 소린가 했다. 카고 리프트. 내가 찌부되어 죽은 곳은 어디지? 안녕하세요. 여긴 뭐야? 우리 길 너무 복잡하다. 트레일러? 오. 그쵸. 약간 미술관 같은데 길이 되게 복잡해요. 이스케이프 메뉴. 저런 거 못 봤어요. 여기서 일로 가면은 원 옵셔널. 이런 거를 다 만들었다는 건가? 게임에서? 사람들이 이렇게 하면은 이렇게 한다? 미팅룸. 나 아까 안 들어가 본 데 있었는데 다시 돌아가는 거 그런가 봐요. 오, 신기하네. 저기 있다. 스탠리 사무실. 왼쪽에서 오른쪽으로 갈수록 스탠리 사무실, 시간에 따른 스탠리 사무실 변화인가? 오. 여기는 아까 왔던 데죠? 일로 가보자. 잉? 아까 전에 나가는 길. 사실 안 가본 데 있는데 나가자. 이 깜짝이야.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
온오프 선택하라고? 꺼보자.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
안녕하세요.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now, and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
찌부되기 전에 다시 나가라고? 오. 근데 왠지 하라는 대로 하기 싫었다. 아니? 뭐 다시 시작하기밖에 안 돼요. 아, 온 누르면 어떻게 되는 거지?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
다시 해보자.
Stanley decided to
나
go to the
아까
meeting room.
그
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
자유를 찾아서 밖에 나간 그거 궁금한데?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
사장실로
Yet there was
얌전히
not a
가자.
single person here either.
알고
Feeling a
있어.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
까먹었어.
Quelle surprise.
어? 8인데. 아, 왜 표지 안 나오는 거야? 됐다. 아니에요. 이거 에임이 좀 안 좋았어. 아, 열려 있었어요? 아, 그렇네. 원래 누르면은 뿅뿅 하면서 좀 시간 지난 다음 열렸는데 이번엔 그냥 열려 있었나? 아니야, 번호 잘 눌러서 그래도 파래졌잖아요.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
가보자. 감시 카메라 켜기. 요건 뭐지? 일단 이건 켜야 되나 보다.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
오케이. 여기서
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
아까 박물관에서
No.
본 그
He
리프트네.
refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire
그러게요.
life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation.
아니야. 아까도 여기
Controls labeled
왔었어요.
with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For
근데
he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
근데 여기 보면은 마인드 컨트롤 정신지배 이거 가동 안 되고 있으니까 인풋 기다리고 있다 했잖아요. 그럼 온 하면은 전신지배가 되는 거구나. 아하. 아까랑 똑같이 까만데?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won.
오!
He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere
엄청
moments away.
간단했네.
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been
그러게,
freed
다들
from the
어디
machine's
갔어?
grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley
그래픽이
stepped
마치
through the open
와우
door.
오리지널 같다. 이렇게
Stanley
나가면
felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
해피 엔딩인가? 오. 그러면은 그거는 왜 보라고 한 거지? 아까 전에 그 잎사귀 있잖아요. 양치식물. 양치식물 그건 왜 보라 한 거지? 그러면은
Already
만약에
this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe
아,
in,
그
that he
놀린
would
거예요?
never leave it again in his life.
그러면은 이제 온 누르고선 거기서 탈출하는 방법도 있나?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
마인드 컨트롤 기계 온 누르고 그러면 핵폭탄에서는 못 빠져나가는 거예요? 이게 뭐야? 문 닫혀버렸어. 열어줘. 열어 이 아저씨. 문 열어.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
그래요.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
내려가면
Coming
또
to a
아까
staircase,
그
Stanley walked upstairs to his
엔딩일
boss's
테고.
office.
탈출. 그니까 이거는 아까 갔었고 반대로는 처음에 해봤어요. 폭발했어요. 그거 폭발하고서는 못하나? 그 폭발하는 거는 못 빠져나가나? 오. 띵동. 노래가 제일 좋았어. 나무위키 보러 가자. 나무위키. 아, 문 열어, 문 열어. 근데 여기 노래는 좋지 않아요? 나 엔딩 거의 본 거 아닌가? 더 봐야 되나? 그러면은 그거 해보자. 아, 열어. 어허, 열어줘. 아저씨 열어주세요. 잘못했어요. 왜 안 열어줘? 일정 시간이 지나야지만 열어주나봐. 여기 이러고 있으면 남자 목소리 나온다. 아저씨 열어주세요. 왜 안 열어주지? 이뻐. 남자 목소리 나와. 같이 노래하는. 안녕하세요. 안 열어줘요. 왜 아저씨. 노래 그만해. 노래 그만하고 열어줘. 클릭해도 안 열리는데? 아까는 열어줬는데, 그쵸? 왜 안 열어줘? 인형 버그인가? 열어주세요. 아저씨 잘못했어요. 하라는 대로 할게요. 시키는 대로. 노래만 하고 있어, 아저씨. 다시 시작해. 나에겐 리셋이 있지.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
저기
decided to go
한번
to the meeting
가보고
room.
싶은데
Perhaps he had
문도 다
simply missed a memo.
열어봐야겠다 이거. 여기 가보고 싶어요. 456 방에 열려 있는 거 보면 갈 수 있을 것 같은데. 문 열어.
When
오른쪽으로
Stanley came to
가보자
a set
이제.
of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
오른쪽. 여긴
Wow.
아까 와보긴
Yes,
했거든요.
this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
누가 이거 음료수 마시고 컵을 저기다가 버려놨어? 자기가 마신 컵은 자기가 알아서 씻어야지.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
아까 전에 여기 들어갔었는데 이번엔 저기 들어가지 말아보자. 아까 전에 저희 들어갔었죠? 시키는 대로. 여기 안 왔던 것 같아.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
거짓말하지 말래요. 오. 카드키 있어야 갈 수 있다 여기는. 점프하지 마세요.
Oh well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform
아
or test your luck
뭐야.
by jumping to the floor below.
바닥에
Looking at
뛰어내리려는.
it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
여기서 뛰어내리면 최소 다리 부러질 것
Come on.
같은데?
I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
하면 어떻게 돼? 분명히 다시 오게 하는 버튼 있을 것 같은데. 문은 왜 또 닫혔어? 카드키가 있을까요? 어? 상자가 올라가지잖아. 이 게임엔 점프가 안 돼. 점프가 안 되는 게임은 갓게임이 아니야. 커피. 아 분명 버튼 있을 것 같은데 그 뛰어내리면은 메롱 이러고서는 스탠리는 죽었습니다 나올 것 같은데 이것만 봐도. 야!
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
다시 가보자 저기.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
이번에는
Stanley
저거
decided to go
타보자.
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
달려.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
여기서 일로 가서.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
타고.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
절로도 갈
There's
수
someone you've been
있으려나?
neglecting,
뛰어내려서?
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
그러니까 점프가 안
To let
돼서
her back
저기로
into your
넘어가는 건 안
life.
될 것 같긴
She's
해요.
been waiting.
그녀가 아까 전에 말한 그 여잔가? 뭐야 여기 수상해. 에이 깜짝이야.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up.
받으면
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? Who'd
뭐야
want to commit their
놀리지
life
마.
to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's
스탠리
really going on
모쏠인가
here.
봐. 저기로 쫓아가 보라고 이루가 보고 싶은데. 알았어.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
키보드에서 P를 누르세요.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's
다른
coming
버튼
back to
눌러볼까?
work.
누르라는
One
거
might even
말고
feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this
다른 거
life.
눌러볼래요. 다른 거 누르면 아무것도 안 되네.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
TV를 부르면 Z를 누르세요.
And so he began to
아,
fantasize
뭐야.
about his own job.
TV
First, he imagined that one
보여준다며.
day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
아이들과 시간을 보내려면 V를 누르십시오. 아무것도 다른 거 할 것 같은데 또.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
저녁을 차리려면 T를 누르십시오.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down
여기
one path lay an enormous round room
있던 거
with
없어졌어요.
monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he
그러니까요.
called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it
이번엔 어디
again, and then
변했지?
again, and again,
아,
over and
책상.
over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he
부인
forgets which
마네킹
life is the
없어졌다.
real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
누르지 말아볼까? 안 누르면 또 아무것도 안 될 것 같은데.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
그냥
I
눌러.
suppose I can't, not in the way I want him
눌러보자.
to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
죽으세요.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again.
싫어.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
뭐야, 아무것도 안 해도 죽는다. 에이. 전화를 안 받을 수도 있구나.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
다시.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley, for the first but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
여기로 가서.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
여기서?
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
저기로
time.
못
There's
뛰어내리나?
someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you
여기
that
갈 수 있을
convinced
것
that I want something
같았어요.
bad to happen to you? Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do
이 아저씨
want to help you,
당황했다. 이
to
아저씨
show you
당황했어요.
something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
그쵸, 당황했어. 아저씨 내 일로 가니까. 왜 무슨 소리야?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
파란 문으로 가자.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly.
뭐야, 문
Stanley walked
없애버렸어.
through the red door.
저기밖에 못 가나?
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
이러면
You see?
뭐가
There's nothing
있을까요?
here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
아저씨
Do not think I
화났다.
put a lot of time into that, because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design. and you
저기도
can give
뭐
me some
나와
feedback.
있는 데 있어요.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
여기가 거기인가 보다. 일로 가면은 휴게실 있는 데고 새로운 데다. 오.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, Tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
선택권이 많아지는 게 게임에 중요한 영향을 미쳤습니까? 뭐지? 뭐가 좋은 거지? 고점이 좋은 건가? 아하. 선택지가 많으면 좋겠지.
You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly
새로운 방식을
candid, I think I've
버전을
knocked it out of the park with
만들었던데?
this one.
뭔데?
Let's take a
뭔데?
look.
기소?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
아니?
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game,
뭐야?
he crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours.
4시간
why
동안
don't you
누르고
give it
있는
4 hours
건가?
of
아니면
play
이게
to make sure
죽고?
it's effective. Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
안 돼. 너무 소리가 시끄럽다, 이거. 미안해, 이건 판때기일 뿐이야.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
또 끝인가? 뭘
Well,
마인크래프트잖아.
is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
근데 점프
And
안
I'll
돼,
say this, I'm
마크에서도.
done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then...
아저씨 집
See,
이왕
what
만들
does it need?
거면 크게
Yes,
만들자.
of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
들어가면 가둬버릴 것 같은데? 근데 안 들어가면 또 아무것도 안 될 것 같아, 그쵸?
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
오케이. 어디로 가면 되지? 아, 여기로.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
아니, 등불 없어. 뭐 줘야지 하지. 오.
Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
뭐야, 끝났다. 이번엔 빨간 문으로 가볼까? 아직 안 끝났어.
I don't even know what
뭐야,
this game is, but I
포탈이야?
love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
포탈은 점프가 된다고. 마크도 점프가 되고.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser.
뭐야? 어? 다시 사무실로 돌아온 거 아니에요, 이거? 포탈에서? 그 건물로 돌아왔는데? 앞만 봐도? (423번) 사무실이랑은 다른데 내 사무실 다른 427번 방으로 돌아왔잖아요. 으양. 잉. 아저씨, 그러니까 아저씨 없어지니까 뭐 해야 될지 모르겠어요. 안녕하세요. 아저씨 그리워요.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's
아,
who I am.
간파당했네,
That is what I
완전.
mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
기다린다고, 나를? 끝났네. 빨간 문 들어가 볼까요? 빨간 문.